welcome to ISCA Say Listen Sparkling Conversations. Today we have two of the most important people in the accountancy world. We've got Mr. Jean Bouquot, President of the International Federation of Accountants, or IFAC, and Ms Taryn Rulton, Deputy President of IFAC. So IFAC is the global organization that represents the accountancy profession. So if you're a qualified accountant, chances are you are a member of a professional body, which is a member of IFAC. So welcome, John and Taryn, and let's get to know you a little bit better. So perhaps you can share a little bit more about yourselves and what exactly is it that the President and Deputy President of IFAC actually do. Let's start with Taryn first.
I'm Taryn Rulton, and I live in Australia. And I've been Deputy President. This is my first year. I've spent my career working with primarily not-for-profit and public sector entities to make more returns and get more out of the work they do. And to do that, I use my commercial skills and my accountancy skill set to help generate returns that are then used to benefit the community. So that's how I generally have worked in business. The Deputy President is here. Primarily, I'm here and I support the President and the CEO and the board in furthering IFAC's work and our strategy. For me, I'm particularly keen in helping build a profession that accountants want to join. I want people to really want to join our profession. And by doing that, for example, we want to make sure that we're leading in sustainability, that we're showing how our skills can help make a better future for the world. Members are ready with technology skills and they know how to make change. And that we're ensuring that everybody in the world can see how important integrity is to us.
That's great. And John?
Thank you. So Jean Bouquot, I'm French. I was born in Africa. I have 45 years of audit experience. That was my first and unique job since I started to engage after my studies. I have been working as an auditor, as I said, for most of my career. But at a certain point of time, I also became the chair of the French profession of auditors. And afterwards, I was honored to be admitted to the board of IFAC, to the board of this very important organization, worldwide organization, voice of the profession, which is doing a lot. And so after being a board member, I have been honored to be elected, well, first vice president, because this is a good way to learn how it goes from the inside of IFAC. And then I was elected president last November. And as a president, I see two sides in my role. First is make sure that we have a good governance, because being the voice of the profession would be not a good sign if we didn't have a good governance. So good governance, and this is something which takes a lot of time. But then what takes also more time, and what is very exciting, is being that voice of the profession, especially in regional areas or in PAOs, go and visit and meet both with the PAOs and with their stakeholders in every country where I go. And we call that outreach. So outreach is very important for all of us.
Thank you, John. And over dinner last night, I think you mentioned something about being in the French Armed Forces. So what was that about?
Oh, that was some time ago. It stopped for me in 2022. Yes, I had the privilege of being admitted as an officer in the French army at a certain age, because it was in 2008 or 09. I was already a senior, and I did that on a voluntary basis as a reserve officer in the French army. But that was a very good experience, and it's still in my mind.
Right. But even with that, you thought that being an accountant was cooler than that. But I don't know. Walk us through that. decision?
Well, yes, being an accountant was, for me, as I said, it was my first job. It was my first experience, and I stayed for it. Whereas when I entered my firm, where I became a partner, and when I entered, like many others in who were my age, we were wondering, well, okay, 1, 2, 3 years, we will learn, and then we go somewhere else. And that was not the case.
Okay.
So 45 years.
Right. Okay, so one thing that's increasingly being discussed today is trust and ethics in the profession, right? And if you think about it, the only reason the profession exists is because we need someone to trust.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on the state of trust in the profession today and the role of ethics? Yeah. And how has it evolved over the past decade or so? So maybe John?
Trust is crucial. This is this is the most important thing we should always have in mind. From the beginning, once we joined the profession, and many years after, and whatever the role we have, which is being an assistant or being a junior or becoming a partner who signs and gives his own personal signature on statements, on opinions, on whatever we do. So trust is crucial, and it is crucial because it is what the public expects from us. This is the role we have, which is, and this role is, of course, crucial, but it is also fragile. You cannot say, oh, the profession has trust forever. I am in a profession where I will be trusted forever. No. This is fragile, and we know that there have been accidents over the years in the past. Those accidents were with very small engagements, with larger engagements, so more impact on in the world or in the economy. This means that we have to cultivate, to make sure that trust is at each level, as I said, and that trust cannot just be, oh, I am trusted. It means that you have to work with the standards, you have to work with the ethical standards which we all share, and you have to consider yourself as, in your own role at every stage, you are the voice of the profession, because your client, or the one you are engaged with, they expect from you to have this level of integrity and this level of quality.
Right. Thanks, John. And I suppose as new tech comes in, like AI, this whole conversation around ethics and risk becomes more complex. So Taryn, you've done quite a bit of work on this area. To you, what are the risks and ethical dilemmas when it comes to use of AI as we increasingly use it today? Yeah.
That's a really interesting area. And I think when I was a CFO a few years ago, at that point, the use of technology was almost simpler than it is today. Because when we talk about AI, I think a lot of us mean generative AI as opposed to automation and other pieces of technology. And they're really helpful for helping us improve efficiency and work our systems the best way we can. What we're seeing now, though, is that generative AI. And it's a tool for us, and it cannot be used to replace our work. It cannot be used to replace our thought process. We have to remain accountable for using it. A lot of the ethical pieces that accountants actually live by are really relevant in the age of AI. So, for example, some of the risks we see is people not engaging. So our members, our accountants, we all have to engage with AI, because if you think your team are not using it, you just don't know where they're using it. So we cannot hide from it. We have to embrace it and move towards it. We see risks around data and what will happen to that data once it's in the system, how we ensure that it's protected for the future, because the data that we hold on people is actually their information. And so I think there's a lot of importance that we need to place on using our skills in making sure there are controls in place, that there is governance in place, and that there are values applied to what we do so that we make decisions that are informed. There are lots of different frameworks that we apply in different countries around the actual rules that we have to apply, but the risks that come through are very significant. And just one extra risk that I'm always thinking about is the risk that cyber has created, because cyber criminals are also using AI. And the way that that can be done, seeing how people can make deep fakes about each other, all sorts of information just fuels some of that trust and mistrust that we see.
And since everyone has to use AI, our clients may be lost, whatever our role is with them. If we don't bring this level of trust, coming back to your question, and making sure that they also understand better what is at risk,
Yes.
at stake with cybersecurity or other problems, then we are not playing our role. So it is important also to be in advance of these expectations. And by doing that, we are also adding our value. We are adding value to what we do, what we bring.
Yep, thanks. And Taryn, you brought up this good point about data security and governance. So just a couple months back, I think ISCA was involved in this global study by the Chartered Accountants worldwide. So and what we found in that study was that most accountants want to use AI, but the biggest concern, if I remember correctly, was around data security and governance. So in your thoughts, do you think we need standards around AI governance or data security specifically for the profession?
Yes and no. I think we have a lot of standards already. We have ethical standards, we have audit standards, we have confidentiality as one of our core ethical tenets that we live by. I think it's helpful to maybe give people guidance on how they apply in a world of technology, in a world of AI that we may not fully understand as well as we know how to make a balance sheet. So we can do that. We learn how to do that. We don't necessarily learn coding. We don't learn where information is stored. And so it's allowing accountants to have more confidence to take accountability for the data that they are using and ensuring that they're using it in an ethical way and they are not promoting the use of it in a way that is contrary to what you would want to happen.
Right. And on this whole topic of governance, I think let's move on to leadership, right? And diversity, right? It's a big thing now. I mean, it has always been. But given that there are so many factors around this topic, I mean, it's not just gender, it's also so many different considerations, right? Age, skill sets, experience, nationality. John, how does a board of directors, or IFAC board, in fact, how do you balance and weigh all these different factors? Yeah.
Well, we feel highly concerned by the fact that we are viewed as an organization which takes care of diversity, and diversity started probably more, was higher on the agenda with gender diversity a few years ago, because to be honest, that was not the case in our board. We were not very diverse in terms of gender. And more and more, we could have been considered as some type of organization which does not understand what are the expectations of society, and we were not potentially a good example for the generations to come or for the society at all, wholly. So we did work on ourselves, and I'm very proud to say that some years ago, not so far ago, but we came to a point where we had the balance, adequate balance between men and women in the board. We also had women who were the first ones to be elected as president, and now we have. It's almost normal. Taryn is not the first vice president to be a woman. We now have this in mind, and we don't have to say in mind. It's normal. It's what we do. But as you just mentioned, and this is yes, very important. diversity doesn't only mean gender. It's also, and for us it is very important, diversity, geographical diversity, because there also we have to take care, to pay attention to that, because first, and our common language is English. Common language being English, this is a state of the World Organization. This is the state of what's going on in large parts of the countries around the world and the profession. But once this being said, it leaves aside some regions, some countries, and they are not minimal, where English is not the first language. In my country, English is not the first language, but there are many others and many good examples. And if we don't pay attention to diversity in terms of regional presence, we would have only people who are totally fluent in English, but we may come from the same countries or a smaller number of countries than the whole we try to have in our boards, in our committees, advisory committees, and all the pieces of our organization. So geographical balance geographical diversity is something important. Another important thing is the size of the organizations in which we work. So you have large PAOs, you have smaller PAOs, you have large entities, you have smaller entities. Then you can also have diversity among what we do. Accounting profession is not only auditor as I am, or expert comptable accountants as we know, or tax advisors. We have many other aspects in our profession, like academics, and like also professional accountants in business. And so we also have to make sure that diversity is present in our boards and in our advisory committees.
Right, nice. And maybe a quick question to both of you. What are your thoughts on hard quotas, when it comes to diversity? So say at least 40% of a certain gender or whatever factor.
There is no percentage. It's a question of balance. It's a question also of opportunity, because you cannot just say, oh, I need 2/3 or I need 1/3, or and it's also a question of playing that, doing that on a regular basis. It's not putting the focus 1 year on this and the other year on that. We observe where our weaknesses are in terms of geography, for instance. So we try to do better the years after if we find that we are not good in this balance. But it takes time, and it's a lot of efforts. But it's also a lot of efforts from the people on the ground who are themselves, who have to be convinced that they have a role to play and that the role is expected.
And Taryn?
I think in some ways I support a public statement of an expected level of quota for a number of reasons. Things are different now, but certainly throughout my career I have been contacted more than once by people who've said, I don't mean to be rude, but I need a female CFO. And I wonder how hard they would have looked for a woman if they didn't have to actually look for a woman. So there is a piece about calling that out. Luckily, that doesn't really happen now. Whether it happens and I just don't hear it, I don't know. But I feel there is a piece for those groups to recognise and to make the people who... Because a lot of this bias is unconscious. So people will go to the group that they want and they will not realise that they've missed another group. And I've also found with minority groups that we're trying to bring in, people may not put their hands up because they may not think that they'll get a chance. Right. And they may not feel that they're actually welcome. And so by calling out that, and so we're very keen at IFAC to ensure that we actively say that we really value the cultural diversity that we have, the educational and the career background and diversity that we have, because we want people to come forward. And I think if we don't call that out in a way, people may miss that. And it's so hard to reach people that you don't currently reach. So I think it's really good to be able to call that out. And luckily at IFAC, we do actively call that out. And we have members from the majority group looking for people from the minority group. And so I think we're very fortunate to have that.
Right. Nice. Thanks. So, and John, I think you touched on the point about having a mix of people from with different backgrounds and experience and skill sets, perhaps. So and today, I mean, we're looking at so many different mega trends, right? Sustainability, AI, changing regulations and all that. How should an accountant or leaders navigate all this complexity?
Well, complexity, yes, you're right. Or I would use maybe inappropriately the word diversity, because yes, if you are an expert, or if you want to be an expert, well, you try to work, and then you feel it's not so complex as what you were viewing at the beginning. So complexity from the outside may be the case, but I think all our colleagues, all our accountants, all accountants around the world are experts in their own business. And when I was talking about quality, yes, we know that this is something which is our lives. Now, there are new, and coming to your question, there are new areas. If I take sustainability, because I can talk forever about sustainability, so I will stop, or you will stop me. But if I take sustainability is something new, still recent, still new for many of us, and it's both a new environment where we have to have a certain level of expertise, and also to make sure that we are giving the right level of expertise, because it goes far away. And therefore, at the stage where we believe we don't have the expertise, we should be ready to have experts who may not be accountants, and some of them will never be accountants, but we bring their expertise on our sides, and we can then work together to bring the service which has to be provided to our clients. But our role as sustainability accountants, or green accountants, as I say in my own words, is to have at least a level which is relevant. We should not say, "Oh, I read the newspaper, so I know how to talk about sustainability." This is not the case. This is not what people expect from us. So more and more, and this is going very fast, we see in all the countries who are entering into this new role for the accountants of being involved in sustainability information, sustainability reporting, we have to go quickly and make sure that we are at the level of expertise which is expected. And this is what I did last year in my country, and it was organized under the review of our regulator. I had to spend 90 hours becoming a labeled green auditor, and if I'm not in that position, I will never be able to say I'm working on sustainability reviews. But at the same time, and this is very important, we bring this with our ethics. And this is our backbone. This is very important. And why I say that is because if we say sustainability, you could say, oh, everybody can do that. Accountants are not the only one. This is true. We have competitors in this field. But we have our code of ethics. And this is really very, very important. And this should be a differentiator factor, and also some way, a way for every young generations who are interested by this to get some sense about our utility.
Right. Anything you'd like to add on to that, Taryn?
I think one of the real strengths of accountants is that we have that basis of professional competency. So we provide our services in the areas that we are skilled and qualified in, and then we work with others who are experts. So we don't try to take all the limelight for ourselves. We are happy for other people to be experts, and we work professionally with them. And I think sustainability, as Jean has pointed out, is a really good area to do that. We don't need to be an engineer to be able to do this. We need to recognise that that will benefit the outcome for the customer, for the public, for the world if we engage properly with people. And that's a real benefit for accountants.
Right, thanks. So it's been really nice talking to the both of you. Any last message you'd like to share with the accountants all over the world listening to this?
I think we have a wonderful profession because, and it comes back to your initial question. We bring value not only on the financial statements and on the ones who have to themselves present their accounts or go to and present the way they are communicating on financial and report and sustainability matters, but we have a wonderful role in bringing value to the society. And when I say to the society, of course, the economic side, but it's also everything we give as trust to the society, and this is crucial, as I said. So this is a wonderful role. It is a role where we can find many ways of doing what we want to do, and Taryn mentioned that very well. So we should be engaging in this very openly and with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. And lastly, coming back to IFAC, we have an organization which has no comparative in any other profession. You will not find, I've tried to find, you will not find any organization as IFAC in other professions. So we want to be a global profession, and I think we have the tools to be it.
And I absolutely second that. One of the real benefits of being an accountant is that it's not the end of the line. So all accountants should not feel that that is the end of, that's where they're going to be forever. I qualified in the UK, I worked there, then I moved to Australia and migrated. I've worked in different sectors, I've worked in different roles. As Jean mentioned, he's moved into a lot of sustainability work. I'm doing a lot more around AI and technology and the interest I have there. And you can work in all sorts of different areas and functions if you have that accounting background. And we all know that jobs will change in future, and you have so many opportunities with the skills that you have. So take every opportunity you have and learn all the new skills that are often and available to you. And the end is, it's where you want to make it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's nice to hear that for such an old profession, we've got such optimistic leaders. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Joining us, and hope you enjoyed your time in Singapore.
Thank you, Iska. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
and Singapore has been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. See you again.